Hello, everyone, and welcome back. It's Figure Friday once again, and we're looking at Rampage with the Tiger Paw. I do want to say when we start off on this that I did find this at Target at the regular $55. So if it's something you're interested, I would say keep checking over at Target. You might get lucky that one shows up and ends up on the shelf. Just keep looking. Otherwise, I've seen it on Amazon for about 125 or something. Keep checking. Who knows? You might get fortunate, and you might be able to pick it up at the normal price instead of getting kind of hit with a big surcharge for getting it on Amazon. Seeing that this is a Target exclusive. All right, so I did have to look up Rampage himself. Now, Rampage apparently was a mail-in order or a recolor of a mail-in order from Heavy Metal. So the original Rampage kind of had a mustache and that, because that's how the Heavy Metal figure was. But today, now we have him wearing a mask. So he's got a nice baklava on him, as well as some sort of print on the front here. And the interesting thing is originally coming from Brooklyn, New York. He came from lower, from a lower class, not even middle class living, and he wanted to reach high in class structure. He wanted to improve his financial standing. So he went into finance until he saw a column of tanks drive by at, and I forget what fort they said that he was in, but at the first sight of seeing the column of tanks, he fell in love with the tanks. So he applied for the armor division right then and there, and here we are. Now he's part of G.I. Joe. He is qualified in small arms, like the M16. I think they said the M1 Grand, the M60, and other various machine guns. So kind of a interesting character. And that is one of the things I will say, when they had come up with a lot of these characters, they gave them a lot of flavor. That's, I think, one of the endearing things about how G.I. Joe has stayed relevant in so many ways, because they didn't just give us a character just to give us a toy. They gave us a character with a nice background. Here's someone that just wanted to be able to climb up the social ladder and say, hey, I'm tired of being poor all my life. That's how my mom and dad were. I want to become something a little bit better so they can look up to me and say, hey, we have achieved something. And they go on and whether financially becomes something bigger. In the G.I. Joe sense, he is a bigger-than-life character, even though he is a more obscure character for a lot of us, because he was originally a mail-away character. And we didn't really get to see him all that much. Now, in the comics, I don't know what we all have. I do admit I just picked up the Larry Hama series, which I kind of laugh about to myself, because I found a digital version of that years ago, but I never really read it. It's something I picked up. I meant to read, but I never did read it. Now I have it as a digital copy. I can pick it up and read it on my phone, but I usually find myself busy, and but I have to get through that so we can see all what Larry Hama had given us, besides all the stuff, all the dossiers that we have for G.I. Joe as a cartoon. Because he is the one that created a lot of the characters, even for the cartoons, because they took the dossier that he had written up, and that's what we went with. So he has a nice tiger print because it is the Tiger Force. His helmet has a nice iconic Tiger Force look to it, with the tiger growl on the sides. Very reminiscent to what we would see on the old World War II fighter planes. So it's really cool to see that. He's got, a masked head, so he's kind of a generic character in that sense. Could you use him as a generic character? Sure. Knowing just a little bit about him, it does kind of add the flavor, so, we will keep him as Rampage. Of course, you could probably change the head with one of the heads from the Steel Brigade line. So if you really wanted to, he is now a explosives expert of some sort because he does have some landmines here, anti-armor landmines. He does have a detonator, which I'm trying to figure out exactly where to put in here. I don't know exactly where yet. I do like his weapon set. The fact that he's got a submachine gun, whether it's a 9mm or 45 caliber, either way. And he does have a pistol. Now, the weapon that he's got has a silencer, and this silencer could be taken off, and it could be put on either his submachine gun, which really to me looks more like a Tommy gun. So it's probably a 45. It could either be put onto this, or it could be put onto his pistol, which to me looks more like a 9mm. And we'll take that out here so you can kind of take a peek at it. Either way, however you want to look at it, it has the addition onto there, so that way you can have it silenced if that's what you prefer. And he also has a nice combat knife there in his wrist armor here. My mind's just going blank. It always seems to do that when I do the videos. Now, looking at him as a character itself, I mean, we have our standard ankles here. Right above the boot, it does have that movement, that pivot, so you can move the foot back and forth however you want. He does look like he's got the double knee joint, so he should be able to really kind of exercise here. You can stretch out that knee and that ankle if he needs to, which adds a lot of extra posability for these figures, which is just wonderful. I honestly don't know what these packs are. We have some sort of packs here on his thigh. I don't know what that really would be, just being honest, outside of just different colored holders. I just don't know. It could be like some detonators or something for some explosives and some ammo pouches. He seems to have some ammo pouches here as well as some other pouches and grenades. So he is an explosive expert of some sort, because I mean, carrying the amount of grenades that he has, or he's just trying to be able to take on the armor with heavier firepower. Either way, but I do like how we have him. Of course, he's got his thigh rotation there, and then when we look at the arms, looks like we have the double elbow here. And we also have the double shoulder, so that means that you can move the shoulder back a little bit forward or a little bit backwards. So if you're trying to have him throw a grenade, you could do that. Not that he has a actual grenade that he could throw, but it is there. So looking at all that fun stuff. His backpack is kind of nice. I do like how we have the landmines on the side here compared to one of the other figures that we actually had both landmines stacked up on the backpack, and it's kind of a difficult thing to get those out. So this is a nice change to that. Looking in here, it looks like we do have some other grenades or whatever else inside of our rucksack here. And it's got some sort of a rigid frame around that. So that works pretty good. All right, now I already put the tiger paw together because we've already seen the tiger paw as the as our Cobra vehicle here. And again, my mind is just drawing blanks. I don't know why it does that. It always does that when I get in front of the camera. But it's the same setup. It's just we have some different colorations on this, and it is a nice setup to see for G.I. Joe. We do have our kind of tiger's grin here sitting there, you know, and from the old Flying Tigers. And, you know, having the nice print on the side, I think this works out really well. It's a very great homage to what the original was, and the fact that this is a 1000 series ATV, it's just very nice. And of course, we have a nice picture of how they were able to get him on there, which I never make mine look as good as they do it in the pictures. I don't know how I just always make it look kind of clumsy or whatever. But there again, I'm not a big professional to be able to do this, and I'm sure that they spent hours trying to come up with everything to try and get it looking just exactly how they need it to look. So he does sit on there very nicely. We have our rockets on the bottom here. Someone else had pointed out, because I've watched some of the other videos, that it's double-ended. And I think I mentioned when we were looking at the Cobra version of this, just because there's a cover on here doesn't mean that, one side couldn't have a cover that falls off. So that way we don't get mud or anything else sitting on the thruster here. It's just a cover that could fall off. We could look at it in that regard. And of course, we have our machine gun up here. And we have our 20 millimeter recoilless rifle right here. So it's very nice. Nice to see this. And I was very happy to be able to pick one up. One of the reasons why I love going to Target, and I think it drives my wife nuts doing that, because she's like, really? We got to go. But those are the reasons. It's a good setup. Great addition into the Tiger Force. Just kind of happy to be able to get it at a regular price instead of having to spend a lot of extra money, which I don't think anyone should really have to. But unfortunately, because of the way the world works today, sometimes people are buying the dickens out of these, and then it's up to us to be able to say if it's something we want to spend the money on so we can get it, or if we just kind of sit there and wait and see if we can't either catch it on sale, or maybe we pick these up secondhand or whatever as well. So with that, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for visiting. It's always wonderful having you here today. Hope you're having a wonderful day, and we will see you in the next video.